Hi children, welcome you all for the today's English class. In today's video, we are going to see the next prose from our textbook Honeydew, Unit 6 Prose. The title of the chapter is This is Jody's Fawn. Before getting into the session, let's see a video clip about the story This is Jody's Fawn. Children, today we are going to understand the story Prose 6 This is Jody's Fawn. Before explaining the chapter, I would like to introduce the main characters of the story. Firstly, we have the character Jody, who was a small boy. Then we have Ezra Baxter, also known as Penny in the story. He was the father of Jody and was bitten by a rattlesnake on his hand. Then we have Aura Baxter. She is the mother of Jody. And lastly, we have Dr. Wilson and Millville. Dr. Wilson was treating Jody's father. Millville was an acquaintance. Acquaintance means friend to Baxter's family. He helped Jody in finding the fawn by giving him ride on his horse into the forest. Children, now as we are aware of all the important characters, let's see the summary of the story now. Jody's father, Penny, was bitten by a rattlesnake. He quickly killed a doe. Doe means female deer. Then he used the doe's heart and liver to draw out the poison. Jody saw that the doe's baby, a little fawn, was left alone. The fawn here is the baby deer. The thought of fawn kept on haunting Jody's mind. He quietly went to his father's bedside. He asked him how he was feeling. Then he asked him to think about the fawn. He asked him to bring the fawn home. Jody wanted to raise him. At first, Penny was in dilemma. Jody argued that raising the fawn would not be a burden. Fawn could drink Jody's milk until he started eating leaves and acorns. Jody also said that his family was responsible for the fawn's plight. Penny argues that it would be ungrateful to leave the fawn to starve, so he gave Jody his permission. He asked him to tell his mother about it before going to bring the fawn in. Jody came to the table and sat down very quietly. The mother was pouring coffee in the cups. She was taken aback when Jody talked of bringing the fawn home. Seeing the mother reluctant, Jody told what his father has said. He said that Penny has said that it would be ungrateful to leave the fawn to starve. Before the mother could say anything, Dr. Wilson spoke. He told Jody's mother that nothing in the world come quite free. He meant that they pay some price for having taken the life of the doe. Here the price was to raise the fawn. Millville chipped in. He offered to take Jody on his horse to the forest. The mother felt helpless. She only told Jody that he could give the fawn his milk. She would not give anything else to feed the fawn. Millville mounted his horse. He sat Jody behind him on the horse. Jody assured his mother, Ma Baxter, that he would be back before dinner. Now, Millville asked Jody how he knew that the fawn was male. Jody said that the spots on the fawn were all in a line. This indicated that the fawn was male. Once in the forest, Jody wanted Millville to go back. He wanted to be alone with the fawn. There were two reasons. First, it was possible that Jody might not get the fawn, for the fawn might have died or be not be found. In that case, he would not like Millville to see his disappointment. Secondly, if he meet the fawn, the meeting would be very lovely and secret. He would not like to share it with anyone else. So Jody asked Millville to go. He said that the scrub was too thick for the horse to get through. Millville, however, afraid to leave Jody alone. He said that Jody could be lost in the forest or bitten by the snake. Jody, however, said Millville didn't have to worry. He would be careful, so Millville went back. After a while, Jody came to the carcass of the doe. Carcass means dead body. The fawn was not found nearby. He tried to look for the small hoof prints, but in vain. Then there was some movement directly in front of him. Jody was overjoyed to see his fawn. It was shaky, but it didn't try to race or run. Jody laid his hand on the fawn's soft neck. He was very happy to feel it. Jody lifted the fawn from the grass very softly. He feared that the sight of its mother's carcass might agitate the fawn, so he avoided the clearing and went through the bushes. It was very difficult to walk. He was carrying the fawn in his arms. It was a long walk. He reached the trail. Trail means walkway. Then he came to the road that could take him home. Now he stopped to rest. He put the fawn down. It bleated and looked at Jody. Jody was charmed. "I'll carry you after I get my breath," he said. His father had told him that the fawn would follow if it had first been carried. So he started slowly. The fawn didn't move, so he came back to pick him. He went ahead carrying the fawn in his arms. He could not go far. He was too tired this time. However, the fawn followed him as he walked on. He allowed it to walk a little. Then he picked it up again. He reached at the gate of his home carrying the fawn. At the gate, Jody had an idea. He would walk into his father's room with the fawn after him. But at the steps, the fawn would not come up. So Jody reached his father's bed with the fawn on him. Jody showed his father the fawn. The father was glad that Jody had found what he wanted. Jody offered the milk to the fawn. The milk was in the gourd. Gourd means it's a pot. The fawn could not drink it. Then Jody dipped his finger in the milk and thrust them into the fawn's soft mouth. Fawn drank the milk greedily. Then he lowered his fingers into the gourd. The fawn drank from the gourd now. Children, that's all from the summary of the story. This is Jody's fawn. Now let's read the text. Before getting into the prose, let's see about the author, Marjorie Kinnan Rawlings. She was an American author and a novelist. She wrote so many novels on the basis of rural themes and settings. That's all from the author. Let's read the text now. Students, now let's read the story. Chapter 6, Prose. This is Jody's fawn. Before getting into the story, let's read the warm-up. before you read. Often, instead of rushing to the doctor to treat a small cut or burn, we find quick and effective cures using things available at home. Can you think of some such home remedies for a cut on your knee, or a burn on your arm, a bee sting? In this story, Jody's father has been bitten by a rattlesnake. He quickly killed a doe. Doe means a female deer, is known as doe, and uses his heart and liver to draw out the poison. Jody wonders what will happen to the little fawn left without a mother. Students, let's read on the part 1 of the story. Jody allowed his thoughts to drift back to the fawn. Jody allowed his thoughts to drift back to the fawn. He could not keep it out of his mind. So here Jody is always thinking about the small little baby fawn, baby deer fawn. He had held it in his dreams in his arms. So he always dream about the small little fawn, and he's just thinking about that he is holding it in his arms. He slipped from the table and went to his father's bedside. So he immediately moving to his father's bedside. Penny lay at rest. Penny is the father's name, and he is just sleeping in the bed and taking rest. As he was not feeling well, he is just taking rest on the bed. His eyes were open and clear. So his eyes were open and clear. Whose eyes? Penny's eyes. That is the father of Jody. But the pupils were still dark. Pupils were still dark and dilated. So here the meaning for the word drift back to, that is go back. To drift back means to go back to fawn. Dilated means enlarged. Here they are talking about the eyeballs. So pupil means here the eyeball of the Penny. The father of Jody, Penny, it was dilated means enlarged. Okay children? And Jody said, "How are you feeling, Pa?" So he is just asking the question to his father that, "How are you feeling, Pa?" "Just fine, son. Old Death has gone thieving elsewhere, but wasn't it a close shave?" So here a close shave means a narrow escape. Narrow escape. "I agree." Penny said, "I am proud of you, boy. The way you kept your head and did what was needed." So see here the meaning for the word kept your head means stayed calm in a difficult situation. Stayed calm in a difficult situation. Here you have the glossary, children. Look at the glossary's meanings. So first word, drift back to, that means go back to the fawn. Dilated means here they are talking about the eyes of Penny, that was enlarged. Enlarged means big in size. A close shave. Next, a narrow escape. Narrow escape. Next, kept your head means stayed calm in a difficult situation. So that's all from the first part, children. Let's move on to the next page. Children, now let's see the next page. Here, the conversation is going on with Jody and his father Penny. Pa, yes, son. Pa, do you recollect the doe and the fawn? So now he is just recalling and reminding about the doe and the fawn to the father. So he is asking about the doe and the fawn to recollect it about it. So here next, I can never forget them. So here Penny is replying that I never forget them. The poor doe saved me. That's certain. That certain means it's correct. So the poor doe saved his life from the rattlesnake. Rattle means it's a kind of a snake, poisonous snake. And to draw out the poison, as I told you before in the summary, he killed a doe, female deer, and with its heart and liver, he saved his life. So let's continue, children. Here, Pa, the fawn may be out there yet. So here Jody is replying that, Pa, the fawn may be out there yet. It might be hungry and very scared. So the Jody is as he was a very kind boy, he was thinking about the little baby fawn. It might be hungry and very scared. I suppose so. So father is telling that yes, it may be. Definitely it will be hungry and scared. Again, Jody, Pa, I am a big boy now. I don't need to drink milk. Why don't I go and see if I can find the fawn? So now he is asking this question to his father. Why don't I go and see if I can find the fawn and bring it here? So now at last he asked his father that he wants to bring it to home and raise it. Raise it means to take care of it. Penny lay quiet. So Penny immediately after heard this question, Penny lay quiet and staring at the ceiling. Ceiling means the over wall of the building. So he was lay quiet and he is staring at the ceiling. Boy, you have got a boy. You have, that is short form is you got me hemmed in. Hemmed in means caught in a situation where one cannot say no. Hemmed in. What is meant by hemmed in, children? Look at the glossary here. Caught in a situation where one cannot say no. Caught in a situation where one cannot say no. So now he was just caught in a situation. Who caught in a situation? Here Penny, the father of Jody, caught in a situation that he cannot say no for this question. It won't take much to raise it. So Jody is just replying that it will not be a difficult one to take care of it, Pa. It will soon start eating leaves and acorns. So as it is a small baby fawn, I can give my milk, I can feed it now. Soon if it is started to eat leaves and acorns, I'll ready to give those things. Acorns means small brown nuts that was grown in willow tree. We can get acorns from a willow tree, children. So acorn means a small brown nuts. Are you clear, children? Yes. So you are smarter than boys of your age. So here Penny is replying, father is replying that you are smarter than boys of your age. We took its mother and it wasn't to blame. So he is just replying that Penny is replying that we took its mother and it wasn't to blame. Surely it seems ungrateful to leave it to starve. So the father just realizing the situation here, and he's just telling that yes, it is not grateful, it is ungrateful only to leave the small baby fawn to starve. So son, I cannot say no to you. I never thought I'd live to see another day. So he's just telling this at last that I cannot say no to this question. So that's all from this page, children. Let's move on to the next page now. Students, let's start the next page here. Yes. Can I ride back with Millville and see if I can find it? So he is asking this question to his father, Penny. Who is Melville here? Melville is the companion, that is the friend of Baxter's family. Okay, children. So as I told you in the characters part, I mentioned Melville there. So Melville is the character and he is the friend of Baxter's family. So here he is just telling that can I ride back with Melville and see if I can find it. So who is asking this question here? Jody is asking this question to his father. Tell your ma. So immediately his father told that you have to ask permission to your mother. Tell your ma I said you can go. So father accepted and he told him, Jody, to go, but he just telling that you need to get permission from your mother also. So now he is going to get permission from his mother. He slided back to the table and sat down. So he get down to the table and he sat down. His mother was pouring coffee for everyone. So here it was in the dining hall table where his mother was pouring coffee for everyone. Slided means walked back quietly. See, look at the glossary, children, all of you. Slided back means walked back quietly. Trying not to be noticed. Trying not to be noticed. He said, Ma, Pa says, here Ma means mother and Pa means father. So be clear, children. Here they have given the short forms of mother as Ma and he is just representing father as Pa. Okay. So he said, Ma, Pa says I can go bring back the fawn. I can go and bring back the fawn. She held the coffee pot in mid-air. So immediately just shocked and stuck and just holding the pot in mid of the air. This shows the shock for his mother. And what fawn she is asking. She is immediately asking what fawn. The fawn belonging to the doe we killed. Doe means here female deer who they killed for his father's treatment he is talking about. So the fawn belonging to the doe we killed, he said. We used the doe's liver to draw out the poison and save Pa. So he is just reminding that incident, and that was the doe he killed for the treatment to draw out the poison for the father. He is just reminding it to his mother. She gasped. Gasped means a heavy breath. She gasped. Gasped means heavy breath. She gasped, well, for pity's sake. Pa says it would be ungrateful to leave it to starve. So he is just telling that again what the father said. It would be ungrateful. Ungrateful means not good, not fair, to leave the little baby fawn to starve. This was said by father. He is just telling to his mother. Dogs, Wilson said. So here, dogs means the Dr. Wilson, character Dr. Wilson, just entering into the scene, and he is just telling that, that's right. So, that's right, madam, he is telling. So, Dr. Wilson, who is the character who is treating his father, Penny, and he is just giving the treatments at home, in the Jody's home. So, he is immediately entering into the scene and he is just telling that, that's right, madam, nothing in the world comes quite free. The boy's right and his daddy's right. So he is just accepting and telling that the boy Jody is right, and as well as his father Penny also right. Millville said. So again the next character entered. Who is that character? He is the friend of Baxter's, that is Jody's family, Millville. He said that he can ride back with him. He can ride back means he can take him with him. I'll help him find it. So he's just accepting this situation, and he's just accepting that query, and he tried to help Jody by taking him in his horse to find it. Find it means here they are going to find the fawn, little baby fawn. She set down the pot helplessly. She was Jody's mother. Ora Baxter was not happy, and she kept down the pot helplessly, sadly. Well, if you will give it your milk, we've got nothing else to feed it. So here the mother is telling that if you will give your milk, I cannot give anything to feed it. Millville said, come on, boy, we've got and get riding. So Millville just encouraging him, and he's just taking him along with him, and they are going to find the baby fawn. Ma Baxter asked anxiously. Ma Baxter means here Ora Baxter, the mother of Jody, asked anxiously, you will not be gone long. You will not be gone long. Jody said, I'll be back before dinner for sure. So the mother is telling, don't go move inside the forest. It is danger too. So see to the baby fawn and come soon. This was the advice given by the mother, Ora Baxter, that is Ma Baxter. Jody said that I'll be back before dinner for sure. He is just accepting and replying that I'll back soon before the dinner, mummy. Millville mounted. Mounted means jumped over the horse on his horse and pulled Jody up behind him. So he sat on the horse behind him. So they both moved into the forest. He said to Millville, do you think the fawn's still there? So he is just asking this question to Millville. Who is asking? Jody. Jody, the small boy, who is asking the question to Millville that, do you think fawn's still there? Will you help me to find him? He is asking. We'll find him if he is alive. So immediately Millville is telling that we'll find him definitely if he is alive. Alive means living. If it is living, if it is available in living, we can get it. How you know it's a he? How you know it's a he? That means how that here Millville is asking how you know that it's a he. He means it's a male deer. How you know that it's a male deer? Jody is replying that the spots were all in a line. The spots over the doe was all in a line. On a doe fawn, Pa says the spots are every which way. So here my father told, Penny told that the spots will be all in a line. If it is a doe fawn, all will be on a line. So that it is only a doe. That is, it's a female deer. Every which way means in different direction. In different direction. For a female doe, it will be in different direction, but in male doe, or it will be in a order, that is, all will be in a line. So this doe fawn is a male fawn. He is just confirming that with that. Let's move on to the second part. Jody gave himself over to thoughts of the fawn. They passed the abandoned clearing. Abandoned clearing means inside the deep forest. He said, cut to the north. He immediately giving the direction. So Jody giving the direction to Millville how to go to that spot where he killed the mother doe. Okay, so Millville. It was up here that Pa got bitten by the snake and killed the doe, and I saw the fawn. So it was up here that Pa got bitten by the snake and killed the doe, and I saw the fawn. So there exactly they standing is the place where his father bitten by the rattlesnake and killed the doe, and he saw the fawn. Suddenly, Jody was unwilling to have Millville with him. So here, suddenly Jody was unwilling to have Millville with him. If the fawn was dead, so what was the reason? What is the reason why he was unwilling with Millville? That here there is two reasons for that. If the fawn was dead, if the fawn, the baby doe fawn was dead, he could not be found. He could not have his disappointment seen. So here, first reason that if the baby fawn, that is baby deer, died, he could not see the disappointment of Jody. So he don't want to see the disappointment of Jody. And if the fawn was there, so the next reason is, if the fawn was there, the meeting would be so lovely and so secret. So he want to enjoy he want to happy and he want to enjoy the situation only alone. So the meeting would be so lovely and so secret that he could not endure to share it. So he doesn't want to share with anybody. So he said, it's not fair now, but the shrubs is very thick for a horse. So immediately is telling that it is not for now, but the shrubs is very thick for a horse. I can make it on foot. But I am afraid to leave you, boy, he is telling. So here Millville is telling that I am afraid to leave you alone in the forest, boy. Suppose you got lost or bitten by the snake too. So he is just thinking of him, the danger that was there inside the forest. If he left alone, definitely he may lost or he may bitten by the snake. So he doesn't want to leave the boy alone in the forest. Immediately Jody replying that, I'll take care, Millville. It might take me a long time to find the fawn. So here he is sure that I can take care myself. You can go. It will take us too much of time to find the fawn. If he is wandered, leave me off right here. So immediately Jody said that, leave me off right here in the forest and you can go. I can take care myself. All right, but you take it easy now. You know, north here and east. So here Millville is just teaching the direction. This is the north and this is the east. So this is the way you have to come to the house. So he is just guiding the boy and he is just moving towards the house. There and there. So here, there and there, that tall pine makes a here act as a compass. So here he is just showing some way, and he is just showing the landmarks, that is marks. Here you can see the tall pines. So through towards the tall pine you have to move, then only you can reach the house. He is giving some directions and he is giving some marks to find out the way. So here making a bearing means act as a compass and helps to identify direction. He is showing the direction also. Who is showing the direction here, children? Millwheel is showing the direction to Jody. So long, Millwheel. I am obliged. Obliged means accepted. He is telling. He waited for the sound of the hoofs to end. So here Jody is just waiting for the sound of the hoofs to end. Then cut into the right. The shrubs were still. Only his own cracklings of twigs sounded across the silence. He wondered for an instant if he had mistaken his direction. So he is just moving into the dark, thick forest inside the shrubs. Shrubs means bushes. To find out the baby fawn. Let's continue with the next page, children. Then a buzzard rose in front of him. Buzzard. What is meant by buzzard? Look at the glossary, children. A large bird like the vulture that eats the flesh of dead animals. Buzzard means a large, big, like the vulture. Vulture means eagle. Vulture that eats the flesh of dead animals. Then a buzzard rose in front of him and flapped. Flapped means just flutter its wings into the air. He came into the clearing under the oaks. Under the oak tree. Oaks means it is a tree. Buzzards sat in a circle around the carcass of the doe. Carcass means dead body. Dead animal's body. That is the doe's. Doe's dead body. So the eagle, the vultures, they are eating the flesh of the doe. They turned their head on their long necks, scanny necks, and hissed at him. So they are just turning and seeing Jody, and they are making some hissing sound. He threw his block at them. He just throwing something over them, and they flew into an adjacent tree nearby. Adjacent means nearby. All they flew into the nearby tree. The sand showed large cat prints, but the big cats killed flesh, and they had left the doe to the carrion birds. Carrion means it's a vulture. Vulture, that is flesh eating birds. So the big cats means here the tiger and the lion they are talking about, and that killed and ate the flesh, and the remaining part of the flesh was eaten by the vultures. Here he parted the grass at the place where he had seen the fawn. So he is moving nearby the grass at the place where he can see the fawn. He did not seem possible that it was only yesterday. The fawn was not there. After seeing everywhere nearby the carcass, he couldn't find out the fawn there. He circled the clearing. He just moved around in and around the place, but still he couldn't see the little fawn. There was no sound and no sign of the little fawn. The buzzards clacked their wings. Clacked means fluttered their wings, impatient to return to their business. They immediately started and they moved in nearby the carcass to eat the flesh. He returned to the spot where the fawn had emerged and dropped on all fours studying the sand, studying the sand for the small hoof prints. Oh, he is just now, Jody, he is searching for the hoof prints. Hoof print means the footprints. The night's rain had washed away all tracks except those of cats and buzzards. So here he can see only the footprints of cats. Cat means here the big the big animals like lion and tiger. Buzzards means here the vulture. So he could see only the footprints of tracks of lion and tiger and the vultures, but he couldn't see the footprint of the little fawn. So then let's start the third part of the story. Movement directly in front of him startled him so that he tumbled backwards. So movement directly in front of him startled him so that he tumbled backwards. The fawn lifted its face of his. So immediately he could see some movement in front of him and he was scared to move nearby the spot. The fawn just slightly lifted its face to see Jody. It turns its head with a wide, wandering motion and shook him through with the stare of its liquid eyes. It was quivering means shaking slightly. Who was quivering? Here, the little baby fawn was quivering. Quivering means shaking slightly. It made no effort to rise or run. So it couldn't move and it couldn't run from the place. Jody could not trust himself to move. He whispered, "It's me." Jody just telling slightly in a soft voice that it's me. The fawn lifted its nose. Scenting him means just smelling him. He reached out one hand and laid it on the soft neck. He just touched it. The touch made him delirious. Delirious means here extremely excited. He moved forward on all fours until he was close beside it. He put his arms around its body. A light convulsion means shiver, passed over it, but it did not stir. He stroked its sides as gently as though the fawn were in china deer. In a china deer means a clay deer that it easily broken. He just stroked its sides as gently as though the fawn were as a china deer. China deer means, look at the glossary here children, a clay deer, and it was easily broken. And he might break it. Its skin was very soft. It was sleek. Sleek means smooth and shiny, and clean, and had a sweet scent of grass. He rose slowly and lifted the fawn from the ground. So he now lifted the fawn from the ground. Its leg hung limply. Hung limply means just hanging down loosely. They were surprisingly long, and he had to hoist the fawn as high as possible under his arm. As the bush was too grown, he just lifted the fawn high above his arms and possible under his arm. Hoist means pull up higher. What is meant by hoist? Pull up higher. He was afraid that it might kick and bleat at sight and smell of its mother. So see, here he is just telling that he was very afraid that he may kick him, or he may make noise he may produce after smelling its mother. but he streaked the clearing and pushed his way to the thicket. Thicket means into the thicket. Into the thicket means out of the bushes he came out. It was difficult to fight through with his burden. So he couldn't come out with all his might from the bushes. He just struggled and he came out from the bushes. Fawn's leg caught into the bushes. He could not lift his own with freedom. So as he coming into the bushes, through the bushes, the fawn's leg caught into the bushes. He could not lift his own with his might, with his strength. He tried to shield its face from prickling pincers. So as that it well grown bushes, it has so many thorns, pins, and it was pricking on his face. Its head bobbed with his stride. His heart thumped with the marvel of its acceptance of him. He reached the trail and walked as far as he could until he come out instruction of the road home. So he just tried out to come out from the bushes and he reached the road to go home. He stopped to rest and set the fawn down on its dangling legs. So a dangling means soft, thin legs. It wavered on them. It looked at him and blittered. Blittered means just shouted. He said, chanted. Chanted means just saying something. Chanting means saying something. I'll carry you after I get my breath. He is just telling something to the little fawn. Jody is telling something to the little fawn that I'll carry you after I'll get my breath. He remembered his father saying that the fawn would follow if it had first been carried. He remembered that and he started away slowly. He started to move away from the fawn slowly. The fawn started after him. So he started to move after him. He came back to it and stroked it. Walk away again. So he told the fawn to walk along with me like this at the back. It took a few wobbling steps towards him. Wobbling means just difficult steps towards him. He cried piteously. So immediately after a little walk, he started to cry and it started to make some noise. It was willing to follow him. It belonged to him. It was his own. He was light-headed with his joy. Light-headed means unable to think clearly. He wanted to fundle it. Fundle means carry it, to run. And romp. Romp means play with it. So he wants to carry and he wants to play with it. To call to it to come to him. He dared not to alarm it. He dared not to alarm. Alarm means frighten. So don't get frightened, he said. He picked it up and carried it in front of him over his two arms. It seemed to him that he walked without effort. His arms began to ache. Ache means paining. So Jody's arms began to pain and he was forced to stop again. When he walked on, the fawn followed him at once. He allowed it to walk a little distance. His hands started to ache. He just leave the fawn down and he allowed the fawn to walk for a little distance. And then he picked it up again. The distance home was nothing. The distance home was nothing. He could have walked all day and into the night, carrying it and watching it follow. He was wet with sweat, but the light breeze blew through the June with the sweat. but the light breeze blew through the June morning. So it was a June morning, cooling him. There was a slight breeze, so it made him cool. The sky was as clear as spring water in a blue china cup. So here they are comparing the spring water that was blue in a china cup. He came to the clearing. It was fresh and green after the night's rain. He fumbled with the latch and was finally obliged to set down the fawn to manage it. Then he had an idea. He would walk into the house, into Penny's bedroom. So then he had an idea. Jody had an idea. He would walk into the house, into Penny's bedroom. Penny means the father of Jody, with the fawn walking behind him. But at the steps, the fawn balked, unwilling to do something. Balked means unwilling to do something. He couldn't walk. The fawn couldn't walk. It refused to climb them. It refused to climb the steps. So he picked up and went into his father's room. Penny lay with his closed eyes. So now he reached the house and Penny lay with his closed eyes. So here, after reaching the house, Penny called, "Pa, look." Penny turned his head. Jody stood beside him. The fawn clutched hard against him. Clutched means jumped and moved against him. It seemed to Penny that the boy's eyes were as bright the fawn's. So Penny saw the boy's, Jody's eyes was as bright as the fawn's, the little baby deer fawn's eyes. He said, "I am glad you found him." Jody then went to the kitchen. Fawn wobbled after him. Wobbled means walked and stumbled against him. The pan of morning's milk stood. A pan of morning's milk stood in the kitchen safe. The cream had risen on it. He skimmed the cream into a jug. So here he is just giving the cream to the small little fawn and he is just pouring inside a jug. He poured the milk into the small gourd. Gourd means pot. He poured the milk into the small gourd. He held it out of. He skimmed the cream into the jug. Skimmed means just slightly taking away the cream into a jug and poured some milk in a small gourd. Gourd means pot. He held it out to the fawn. He just giving to the small little baby deer fawn. He buttered it suddenly, smelling the milk. Buttered it suddenly and smelling the milk. He saved it precariously from spilling over the floor. Precariously means carefully from spilling over the floor. It could make nothing of the milk in the gourd. He dipped his fingers in the milk and thrust them into the fawn's soft wet mouth. So after seeing the milk, the fawn, it hesitated to drink the milk from the gourd. So here Jody dipped his finger into the milk and he just putting his finger into the fawn's soft wet mouth. It suckled greedily. It just licking and suckled it greedily the milk when he withdrew them. It bleated frantically. Frantically means immediately and buttered him. He dipped his fingers again and as the fawn sucked, he lowered them slowly into the milk. So immediately after it sucked the milk from his fingers, he just lowered his head slowly into the milk. The fawn blew and sucked and snorted. It stamped its small hooves impatiently. Small hooves means small foot. As long as he who held his fingers below the level of the milk, the fawn content. It completed the milk. It closed its eyes dreamily. Dreamily means it just started to drink the milk completely. It was ecstasy to feel its tongue against his hand. Its small tail flicked back and forth, that is, moved back and forth, back and forth. The last of the milk vanished in the swirl of foam and he gurgled. Gurgling means the sound made by the small fawn, small baby deer fawn, gurgle. Gurgling means the sound made by the small baby deer. So children, that's all from this lesson. This is Jodi's Fawn, written by Marjorie Kinnan Rawlings.